Space. Have you ever wondered what was out there?
We're probably not alone, and it's going to be damn hard to figure it out.
How was it all created?
It's a mystery, the longest unsolved mystery in modern astrophysics, possibly in all of science.
How vast is the universe?
We're pretty sure the universe goes well beyond our horizon. We don't know how far, and it's possibly infinite.
Most importantly, have you ever asked yourself this one simple question? What would I do if I woke up in space?
Commencing Atlas System Suit Initialization.
Regardless of what your answer is, odds are you can do it in No Man's Sky. They have it all. Well, at least now they do. No Man's Sky was first released all the way back in 2016, and oh my god, was it a disaster. After years of anticipation and waiting, fans' hopes for the game were as high as they could possibly be. Fueled by a series of ambitious trailers and countless promises made from the developers, no, like genuinely countless. This dude on Reddit tallied up everything that was promised on release, and it's actually kind of crazy. The community was expecting a masterpiece. However, the game was anything but. Quickly after release, No Man's Sky was torn to shreds. Everywhere you looked, there was another bad review of the game. I couldn't believe how soon I felt like I had seen everything it had to offer. Total eclipse of the galaxy's heart. The galaxy may be infinite, but the feeling of discovery is limited. No Man's Sky stumbles in a lot of important areas. The stakes are incredibly low, which makes for a meaningless survival experience. The backlash was insane, with many players feeling betrayed by the sheer number of unfulfilled promises. It was a lot of them. In fact, there were so many unfulfilled promises that it led to the game being investigated by the UK's Advertising Standards Authority for misleading advertising, focusing on discrepancies between the game's description and the actual gameplay. They were under investigation for essentially lying to their player base. How bad do you have to make a game for a literal government entity to come after you? Like, that's insane.
Yeah, you suck. You just fucking suck.
Outside of just the unfulfilled promises, there were many other issues that plagued No Man's Sky on release. Things like performance issues, lack of multiplayer features, and repetitive gameplay were among many of the criticisms. That, followed by numerous bugs and technical issues, further dampened the experience for those who had been waiting years for the arrival of No Man's Sky. Players were so angry that they quickly turned on the developers, Hello Games. Now, if I'm being honest, I can't completely blame the developers for what happened with No Man's Sky. After all, Hello Games was only a small studio founded in 2008 based out of the UK. Guess it makes sense that the UK government was the one that investigated them. Of course, I'm a firm believer that Sean Murray, one of their founders, definitely shouldn't have been making an almost illegal amount of promises. However, this was Hello Games' first attempt at making an actual game. Before No Man's Sky, the only other game that they had developed was some weird mobile game by the name of Joe Danger. Yeah, it's safe to say the games are a little different. Following all the backlash and hate coming from the launch of No Man's Sky, Hello Games did the only thing they could think of. They went completely dark. But they never once gave up on their game. Hello Games' journey to redeem No Man's Sky was nothing short of remarkable. Yet, it wasn't easy. After going dark, Hello Games had zero communication with anyone. There was no PR team trying to explain what happened or any lengthy apologetic interviews about the future of the game. Outside of a few minor bug updates and patches, Hello Games completely vanished. However, behind the scenes, the team was hard at work. Determined to make good on all their promises, Hello Games began to methodically address the game's issues, and it all started with the Foundation update. Ironic that the Foundation update is what started the revival of No Man's Sky, isn't it? Released in November of 2016, the Foundation update was Hello Games' first attempt to lay the groundwork for the future of No Man's Sky. It introduced base building, allowing players to create a home on any planet they choose. It also added new game modes like Creative Mode that allowed players to explore without restrictions, and Survival Mode that increased the game's difficulty, adding a new layer of challenges. Almost sounds as if they tried to copy some core mechanics of another popular game. But boy, was the community excited about it. It showed them that developers hadn't given up just yet, that they were willing to fight for a project that they'd worked on for so many years, that all the time they'd spent wasn't going to be wasted by abandoning No Man's Sky, something a few other game developers could learn. Following the Foundation update, they released updates like the Pathfinder update that introduced vehicles, enhanced base building, and added a permadeath mode. They also released Beyond, which expanded multiplayer capabilities by adding the Nexus. That followed by the Origins update, which added millions of new worlds, each with unique flora, fauna, and landscapes. With each new update, the game began to completely change from the disaster it was on launch. Year in and year out, more major updates kept rolling out, changing the game into what players were promised years ago. And after almost a decade, No Man's Sky has completely changed its image. They went from being absolutely torn apart in the media to being one of the most beloved games of all time. And with over 250,000 Steam reviews at a very positive rating, players have no one to thank but the developers.
I love you! I love you too!
Now, No Man's Sky's redemption arc has been one for the history books. No, literally, just about everything you see nowadays is how great No Man's Sky is, and if I'm being honest, they aren't lying. They helped redefine the gaming industry by demonstrating the importance of persistence, listening to player feedback, and the value of post-launch support. Starting with post-launch support, Hello Games showed that even if your game is seen as a massive failure on launch, as long as you put the time and work, you can still overcome it. Since the release of No Man's Sky, we've seen this become more and more common with games like Cyberpunk, Fallout 76, Diablo 4, and Sea of Thieves. I thought the game was still really bad. Oh well. After what Hello Games has been doing, more developers are beginning to realize that continuous updates, improvements, and new content can slowly turn things around and restore faith in their community. On top of just updates, normally developers would reach out via some sort of post or statement. Hello Games did the exact opposite. Honestly, I don't think it was really the greatest idea, as players were literally begging the developers to say anything about the game, but it was definitely an idea.
Respond! Say something!
I get why they did it. They didn't want to let all the negativity get to them and diminish their spirits, so instead they decided to just let their work and persistence speak for itself, which I guess worked out in the end. However, even though they didn't make statements or address the community, they were still quietly lurking in the shadows. As they ignored all the hate and anger, they were meticulously looking for helpful, constructive criticism that players were offering. Things like improved inventory system, which they overhauled in the Waypoint update, ground transportation, which they added in the Exocraft update, and a complete overhaul of combat, which they did in the Sentinels update. Of course, there are many other examples, but this just goes to show that Hello Games was actively listening to what their community had to offer and were trying their absolute hardest to make it happen. Again, something a few other games could learn from. Fast forward to today, No Man's Sky is practically unrecognizable from its initial release.
Who are you? I am. Who are you? Who are you?
The game has evolved into one of the most ambitious and expansive experiences in the industry. The vastness of the universe has become something spectacular. Each new update has added something unique, completely changing, or adding to the game's depth. For example, the latest update, Worlds Part 2, added a story that allows you to create a brand new star system. But what really shows the difference between what No Man's Sky is now and what it used to be is the community. What started as a disappointed player base, frustrated by broken promises, has grown into one of the most dedicated and passionate communities in gaming. They actively share things like custom-built bases, or newly discovered planets, or even entire star systems with each other. The dynamic that Hello Games has cultivated over the last decade has led to constant innovation, with the game's universe continuing to expand in ways that feel both personal and meaningful to its community. The connection that players have with not only each other, but the developers as well, is something that all games should constantly be striving for. All in all, No Man's Sky's journey is a testament to the power of perseverance, humility, and the importance of community. What began as one of the worst game launches in history, filled with unkept promises and disappointed fans, has transformed into an amazing universe that continues to evolve and improve with each update. The game's redemption arc isn't just a victory for the developers, but for all the players who believed in the potential of the game and stuck with it. Today, No Man's Sky stands as one of the most ambitious and expansive games in the industry. The countless updates, improvements, and additions have not only turned the game into a beloved experience, but also set new standards for all developers. They prove that it's not just about initial success, but about building trust, showing you care, and never giving up. Hey guys, just wanted to come in here for a few seconds just to say my channel has been doing better than it's ever done before. The last few videos I dropped were my second and third highest performing videos, so I wanted to say thanks to everyone for supporting me so far. The next few videos I drop are games that are coming out relatively soon that have just been in my wish list for a while, so stay tuned for that. And if you're still watching, please drop a like and a sub, and I'll see you in the next one.